r/AskReddit by LaughWithMEmes. How do you ruin a funeral? By bringing only one item. Ghostbusters outfit. Get the proton pack, fill it with silly string, have two friends come along, one who hides behind the casket, and the other also wearing a Ghostbuster outfit. Have the friend behind the casket start shaking it, then you and the other guy run up yelling back quote, "I ain't afraid of no ghosts," while spraying everyone and everything with silly string. Finish it off by crossing the streams. Best funeral ever. A giant framed picture of someone else. Bonus points if the picture is of yourself, 1 up. If it's of yourself hanging out with the dead person's former enemy, 2 up. If it's a nude self-portrait. Chips. Munches during the eulogy. My friend's biggest pet peeve is people eating crisps on public transport. She texts me raging about it fairly regularly. She would have an aneurysm if she was at a funeral and someone did this. And then I'd do it at her funeral just to rub it in. Another casket with a body. Sorry Mr. Baker, we had another little mix up at the parlor. This is a real one, I promise it this time. Since you already have the hole dug, you mind if we throw one more in it? A laugh track soundboard. Scenefold theme included. I mean, what is the deal with funerals, right? B-E-O-O-M bomboo, boo boo dum ba dum bap edit, thanks. You can do literally anything, as long as you follow it with the words "it's what they told me they wanted" edit. You guys have a fixation with 3-foot dildos. I'm going to start telling each person in my life one very specific annoying thing I want them to do at my funeral. If everything goes to plan, it will be the weirdest funeral ever. There was a guy on Inga, I think, that offered funeral services. Stuff like arriving in an expensive car, setting a black chess piece on your coffin, and saying your turn, old friend, and then leaving. Confetti. Bringing a truck of it. Pretend it's the body until it's halfway in, and they are going to bury it, and they open it up, then inside there's a giant confetti cannon, time to fire at them at that exact moment. Never done this before, but I think it will have quite an effect. The fact that this is similar to how my dad asked to be buried. But he just wanted some confetti cannons attached inside the coffin in a way, so that when it was opened they would shoot out confetti. Googly eyes. Put them over the dead person's eyes as you solemnly tell everyone it's an important ritual in your religion that allows the deceased spirit to see their way to the other side. Does anyone know if I can ensure this is done to me when I die? Could probably add it to your will. Bring the mistress. That happened to a family friend. His mother had died 2 years prior, then when his father passed away, the mistress came to the funeral. She sat in the very back and the grown children did not make a fuss. The father and mistress had been seeing each other for 30 years. She was in her 60s when he died. The family was very civilized about it because everyone knew, but simply didn't talk about it. Barbecue sauce, but it only works if you keep hungrily eyeing the casket and asking questions like, "Is anyone else starving?" Starts cutting. Bring copies of the deceased's browser history. They're already dead, you don't need to murder them too. Yes, you've already had first death. What about second death? 11s? Is a clown suit one item? Because I've got an idea. Edit, why? You can't spell funeral without FUN. You are now moderator of r/New Orleans. Get well soon balloon. I'm officially requesting this at my funeral. If anyone gets offended by it, they don't deserve to be at my funeral. Seriously though, this actually seems like a great way to break the ice at my funeral. Get one full of helium and inhale it before you do their eulogy. Edit. Finally my evil is recognized. Thanks. Or offer hexafluoride to make for a truly evil eulogy. Dress as Satan and talk about how the person is burning in hell. I had an aunt who brought her boyfriend to her husband's funeral. Her husband had killed himself. So, I'm going with bringing a lover to your spouse's funeral. I know of a similar situation. There was this guy I went to high school with, his long-term girlfriend cheated on his with this other guy, and then brought him to the funeral when guy number 1 killed himself over it. I thought it was in poor taste to say the least. That's disgusting. Talk about being a scumbag. Get this. I knew a guy who died, and the dude responsible for the death spoke at his funeral. Long story, but I'll try to keep it short. Last summer the dude I knew, let's call him John, was hanging out with some friends at a river house. The house was owned by one of the friends' parents, let's call him Bill. Bill is a big fat party animal, good old rich boy. Anyways, from here on out, I'm going to telling the story in an alleged sense, because these events have not legally been proven to have happened, but everybody knows this is what went down. John and Bill were cruising around on Bill's boat. I'm not sure who else was on the boat. Bill was drunk. Bill hit something in the water. John hit his head, fell overboard, and drowned. They may not have immediately noticed John falling overboard, but when they did notice, they couldn't find him. Upon realizing what had happened, Bill realized Bill already had some DUIs, and a DUI manslaughter would surely land him a harsh jail sentence. Bill, and whoever was with him, decided to not report it and go back to the river house and pretend nothing happened. He went to sleep and played golf the next morning. After golf he decided to call the police and report, hey, my friend is missing. I haven't seen him since yesterday evening. Police get involved and start a search. Police find John's body in the water near a creek. They found evidence of a concussion before drowning. Bill sticks to his story and keeps his mouth shut. Bill lawyers up. The FBI gets involved. They find damage on the boat. All evidence points to John dying from a boating accident on Bill's boat. Bill sticks to his story, his lawyer, and doesn't admit to shit. It's obvious what happened, but law enforcement doesn't have any real proof of anything without a confession or witness. Bill speaks at John's funeral. The end. Edit. Since my comment has gained some attention, I'll follow up with some additional info. This case has been in the news, so I guess protecting real names doesn't matter. There's still court stuff going on. Apparently the family now has some complaints that the prosecuting attorney hasn't really been prosecuting. Prior to the hearing, Smith stood outside the courtroom and chatted with the 3 defense attorneys representing Rand Hooper. The McCormick family said Smith did not interact with them at all. There you have it. For you guys that don't already know, the key and trick to having a good defense lawyer is having a defense lawyer who's buddies with the prosecuting attorney. It's an old trick. This is a great example of some good old Virginia old money shit going down. I mean, just look at that picture of Hooper's main lawyer in the article. My mum took us to McDonald's just prior to my grandmother's funeral. At the time, they had Lion King toys that made the animal sounds that they represented. My sister was 4 and no one thought to take the very noisy toy off her before the service, so there was a hyena cackling during this very solemn time before someone could confiscate it. Ruined the mood, but in a very uplifting way. I legit went to a funeral where someone showed up late and blamed traffic. It was for someone who died in a car accident. Sorry I'm late, guys. Traffic was murder. Pull out a karaoke machine and start singing along with I'm Walking on Sunshine. If people try to stop you, act confused and shout, man, this place is dead. That is kinda normal here in the Philippines. One of my friends passed away a couple of years ago, and while we were in the waiting room at the hospital, we started talking about what kind of music to play at his wake. Because we're such awful people, it was a list of totally inappropriate ones, but ones that our friend would have found funny. Ones that I can remember were Highway to Hell, Zombie, Another One Bites the Dust, I Touch Myself, and Stay in Alive. Edit to add, we did end up playing most of the ones we came up with. Slide whistle. Edit. Neat. My first gold award. Thanks to whoever sent it as well as the upvoter/commenters. Blow it as the casket is being lowered. At my fiance's dad's funeral, he suffered a freak stroke and passed in his 50s. She tucked a get well card into his jacket at the open casket viewing. Dark humor has always been her immediate family's calling card and helped them cope with the unexpected loss. His hyper-religious, Orthodox Mormon extended family, not so much. Please like and subscribe for more. This is Laugh with Memes. Goodbye.